Joe DeFalco in the ring, raising up the future. Got the belts, got the sweat, endless life in a suplex. Future stars, big dreams, breaking all the seams. Las Vegas stage where the spotlight beams. Arena lights flash bright, warriors of the night. Mat slams, crowd roar, showdown of the might. From the rookies to the pros, grinding day and night. Every step, every fight, honing skills tight. Future stars, destined for the fame. In the ring, they'll carve their name. Blood, sweat, tears, the unending game. Joe DeFalco's legacy, they proudly claim.
Hey everybody, Matt Michaels here on the DeFalco Files with the owner and creator of the Future Stars of Wrestling here in Las Vegas, Mr. Joe DeFalco. Joe, how's it going coming up here into the week of Collision Course, which is tomorrow, the 27th at 7 p.m. at the FSW Arena?
Yeah, we got another big show. You know, we got so much stuff going on over the, till the end of the year, and extremely excited about it. Big championship match for the FSW Heavyweight Championship, the Nevada State Championship, the No Limit Championship, all going to be on the line tomorrow.
Yeah, we're seeing a bunch of stuff here. Let's start with G Sharp and Jacob Austin Young. At this point in both of their careers, do you expect to see something that to you is going to be a match in which you might actually stop and watch the match? Because I know that's kind of hard for you to do sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it definitely is. I always try to peek while it's happening, especially now that I don't do commentary as often. So
Right.
Obviously unfortunately, there's always some little thing that's always going on. It's like, it's mind-boggling how everything can't just be smooth as silk. We start the show and I could just sit there. But there's situations that arise. There's a whole bunch of different things that are going on. So generally it's like, oh, Mikey needs you in the office. Oh, we need you by the, somebody at the door. They said they had tickets or whatever it is. So it's like, since you got to handle everything, and then all of a sudden you get into conversations and, hey, did you see my match? Yeah, we saw a part of it. And all of a sudden 2 matches go by and you realize you didn't get to see certain things. And I try my best to catch it later.
Right.
That's thankfully we got the feed and all the other stuff. But, hopefully being that it's going to be the main event of the evening, any of the issues will be taken care of. And, maybe I can just, sometimes you'll see me on camera. I'll be sitting next to Fred and Jamie because there's the open seat there or on the other side. And I just try to sit and watch just because I'm a fan. And, when good stuff is happening, you want to see it as it's happening. Who wants to see something after it already happened?
Right. And with the two of them knowing each other so well, what do you think, is going through their heads in terms of being able to make this something that is memorable, not just for the fans, but for themselves? I mean, this has got to be something that the two of them are really looking forward to.
Right. And what you got to understand is that, these guys both started at like 19 years old. They both, they both been doing it 12, 13, 14 years. They started at the Boulder Highway School, and they've had many ups and many matches. And there's a good chance that this could be the last time that they ever have the opportunity to wrestle each other, So,
Yeah.
But knowing both of them, they're going to go out there to do the best they can for the other guy. A lot of times
Right.
you're going out there and you're trying to shine. You want to make your opponent look as good as possible. But being that these guys are so close, deep in their minds, I think these guys want to kill it because I think Jake wants everybody to see how great Sharp is, for example.
Right.
And he knows that on the flip of a coin, maybe Sharp was the guy who got the call to go to New Japan. You know, they both went to
Right.
the dojo. They both got on New Japan Strong. And then situations occurred where they didn't do any of those shows anymore. And they both kind of lost out for a while. And then all of a sudden, you know, TJP maybe made the recommendation for Sharp. You know, maybe if Jeff Cobb made the recommendation, for Jake, and then maybe Jeff Cobb could have made the recommendation for Sharp. But
Right.
TJP, because of his association with us and not, you know, full fledged, he was in, he was out, you know, we were kind of like when he was in the United States because he was always in Japan. But he built up a strong friendship with Jacob Austin Young. And that's what I try to instill with all these younger cats, that they don't get this fucking deal, that there's a lot of really, really, really good wrestlers. Nobody's going to be like, oh, yeah, well, Jake's better than Sharp. And, you know, half the people say Sharp's better than Jake. And maybe Sharp was a little better on the microphone. It's placement. It's right place, right time. And they could have picked both of them, but they maybe only needed one. Just like a bad dude Tito was in Japan for a little bit, and he was another one. And Che Cabrera got on the New Japan Strong, but then he wasn't able to get to the next spot that he would have loved to be in where Jake is. So, you know, as good as these people are, you can't specify like, well, Jake got it because he's way better. No, Jake got it because he was the right person that was needed for what was available. And that's why it's like always help out, always be around, always give 150%. And when other people are coming into town, you know, hey, when we had a seminar with Rocky Romero, hey, when we got Rocky Romero the match with Jacob Austin Young, you don't think because of that 10 or 12 years ago that didn't help in any way? Of course it did.
Right.
So now I guarantee you that Jake looks at it like, you know what? I can make Sharp look even better than how great he already is, because we know he is. But I'm going to go out of my way to, hey, you know, I'd love to have my brother on the road with me. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot more to it than just an FSW heavyweight championship match.
You know, maybe Jake, instead of just taking back the heavyweight championship, he takes Sharp and the championship with him back to Japan.
You know, he could, you know, because the last time they were together before being back in FSW, they were a tag team in New Japan Strong at Sam's Town. And it was a great moment for both of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of moments, Davion gets a shot at Dante King's No Limits Championship, huh?
Well, you know, we came out of Future Shock regardless of the situation. Davion was victorious against Demir.
Yeah.
And we needed somebody to take on Dante King. And it's like, well, he's got some momentum going. And let's try to elevate. You know, he's a guy that is always looking for that opportunity. You know, sometimes he gets a little overzealous and I get a little irritated with him. And it's like, okay, well, now there's an opportunity to be had. I'm going to give you that opportunity. So now it's going to be your job to sink or swim.
Yeah.
And now you're going to get a great opportunity in there. So
yeah, and I think that, you know, the idea of Dante, you know, The question is he too comfortable? Is he going to get pushed by a guy like Davion where he might be overlooking him? And
Well, hopefully he's learned from almost losing to a guy whose win-loss record wasn't the greatest in Ricky Tenacious.
yeah,
Hopefully
sure,
he's not overlooking the fact that he almost, if the referee didn't see the double pin, he would have lost the title to Andy Delgado.
yeah,
Uh, and he's had the opportunities, and he ended up overcoming Braxton and won the gauntlet match. But that was good. That was Braxton's second match. So Dante King, a lot of people feel that he's ripe for the picking,
yeah,
and there's a lot of people that are looking to get in line because they feel, hey, if you're a wrestler, who do you think you got a better shot of beating, Dante King or Duke Lawrence?
right. And
I think you might want to take your shot. Now, a guy like San Lu, a guy like Shogun, there's a lot of big boys that want to say, you know what, Duke's a big man, and he's kind of destroyed the Nevada State Championship division, I guess you could say.
sure,
But we saw, a guy like San Lu and a guy like Shogun, they've gone to war with him before in tag matches, and when they were tag champions, they might have beaten Koa, and I'm
right,
pretty sure Duke has never lost by pinfall to either of these guys.
right.
So it's going to be interesting to see. There's nobody to tag in. I know Shogun's going to be there to offset the MK Army,
Yep,
but they got a little bit of a break because, for everybody who doesn't know, MK is the radio commentator for Utah football, college football, and they got a big game tomorrow. So MK is not going to be at the show tomorrow. So now, a guy like Duke who relies on MK for not only advice, he relies on him to, get involved in certain situations.
right.
Now the other guy is the one who's got somebody watching his back. So if somebody from the MK Army, oh, there you go. Duke and Shogun, that's right. I remember they had a match at the FSW arena. It was a fucking war.
Yeah,
And Shogun overcame Duke. So, that was at least a year and a half ago. So there you
yeah.
go.
That was early. When Duke was first working his way back. On a regular basis. Yep.
Right. And that was way before he got the Nevada State Championship. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see, San Lu, the former hero, former tag champion, had opportunities to become the heavyweight champion along with Shogun after the Limelight deal and
Right.
wasn't able to. So now he's looking for his first singles title. And
Right.
now he's got his brother by his side.
Phil says it should be called MK Lollipop Kids.
There you go. And, there's something we were going to talk about. Phil right there. He's getting married. I was thinking today, so he's getting married tomorrow. So I guess I should have booked the show on Friday. They could have came to the show on Friday, but another FSW wedding, not at the arena, as you asked earlier, but Phil and Brandy. And Brandy's been as a fan for extremely long time. Phil came with one of our guys, George Sanchez, who comes with his kid and his dad a lot, and brought Phil, met Brandy, and now they're getting married tomorrow. So that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, and too bad that MK wasn't available, or he could have officiated the wedding for them, which I'm sure they would have. Oh wait, no, look at this. They are getting married today.
Oh, okay. So I did read it right because I ended up writing on the Facebook, but I guess it was the message from yesterday I saw. And I wrote Friday wrestling and I wrote Friday wedding, Saturday wrestling. And I was like, then I went back, and then it was like, oh wait, maybe I'm wrong. They liked it and all, and I guess they didn't want to make me feel bad. But okay, I am right. So they are available to come to the show tomorrow. So you know what? You come to the show tomorrow, Brandy and Phil. You got a free ticket on me. So
but only one free ticket between the two of you. So
no, we'll give the two, but like Heather can't slide in, or David, or them, and try to like, hey, well, we're from the wedding, so can we get free tickets too? No, just Phil and Brandy. And
all
even
right.
Phil's kid, we'll give them the trifecta.
All right. And if they do come, they get to see this awesome fatal four-way match. I think this is looking to be, again, really a great thing for a couple guys here. One, Jaden Cole, again, he's really just kind of turning heads, man. Getting opportunities. Luke Curtis, you got lucky again. Here's a solid professional guy. Man, so what do? You put him in a match with Mazzani, and then Delgado gets in on this. Man, you talk about flavoring four guys together and the ability for these four guys to kind of figure out how that meshes in the terms of what kind of story they can tell. You get that experience here. Other places, you're not going to get those kind of opportunities. That's four different levels of guys who, what a beautiful chance to make this a memorable match for, each of them to show how far along they are. And, and for a guy like Dave to, I mean, he's for being out of it for a long while, his ring rust ain't showing,
Oh,
man.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, he hasn't missed a beat at all, and I really enjoyed because the spotlight, Jaden Cole and Mazzani worked in a 6-man tag at the last show, and Andy Delgado, Andrew, was on the other side, and I really enjoyed watching the dynamic because nobody's hits harder than Andrew Delgado, and nobody enjoys being hit hard than Dave Mazzani. So
Right.
I really enjoyed their dynamic. So when I was putting the match together, and Dave was like, because we were looking to do something at Future Shock, and then Dave got called off because he's a firefighter, so he couldn't do the 4th. So I'm like, well, I have a match available that I'm putting together for Collision Course on the 27th, and I know he said he was available. So it was like, oh, okay. And then I hit up Luke, and he was like, oh, yeah, I'm good. Because I wasn't sure where we stood with a certain opportunity for a match. And when that didn't work out, it gave me the match for the 8th match on the show. And then it was like, hey, Andy, you available? Yeah, what's up? I'm like, ah. And it was like, well, I could have made it simple and did Dave Mazzani versus Andrew Delgado, because that's a match I do want to see. And we probably will see, depending on what happens in this match. But giving the Jaden Cole and Luke Curtis, who, are both, rising with the bullet, and let me include all them in it. So now we got a cool fatal 4-way to go along with the women's fatal 4-way that was up in the air a little bit, because Zamaya told me, yeah, I believe I'm available that day. And then she said, oh, I'm not available that day after I put the flyer out. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because we ended up, Black Swan was scheduled to be in the 4-way, but she got injured again.
Right.
So now it was like we were scrambling. I got Taylor York, I got Maserati, and it was like, okay, Gypsy became available. So Gypsy basically took Black Swan's spot. And then I hit up some of the people that are going to work the Future Shock show next week, which is SOS is coming back. I hit up Fallen Gray, who'll be on, a show down the road. and they were working in Arizona, and I wasn't able to get a fourth person. And then Zamaya had hit me back up about something, and I'm not sure what it was. And I was letting her know, I was like, yeah, we had an idea, but, you can't make this show, and you're not making the next show, and you missed the women's show. And as much as I like you and think that you are a really top contender in the division, right, between Layla Gray and Trisha Dora being around, and Gypsy and Brittany and Maz and Black Swan at the time, it's like our division's kind of stacked. And no offense, but out of mind, out of sight. If you're not going to be around for 3 or 4 shows out of 5, it's kind of really hard to put something together. So she, started a new job, whatever, but she's made it work, and she will be there, and we're good with the 4-way for Saturday.
Yeah. Which is, again, another exciting opportunity for the 4 of them to, again, mix it up, show what they got, because, man, that division is heating up. Then you got, listen, Demir now gets Braxton. So Davion gets elevated, gets a shot now. Now Demir, he has to go and try to get through Braxton, who Braxton's, coming off of that loss to Dante. Are we seeing possibly just a huge, like 8-man whirlwind Texas tornado match coming up for Dante's championship? Because it seems like everyone's contending, in the same circle for that No Limits title, man.
Yeah, but I think what's going on here is I know Fresco and Watson, they travel a lot to Arizona, and Demir, they've kind of put them under their wing a little bit. And I guess what's going on behind the scenes is that they're pitching to Ice and Braxton the idea of Demir Morningstar becoming a member of the faction.
Okay.
So I think Fresco and Watson were the ones who encouraged Demir to take the open challenge. And then after the match, Demir did well, but, ice is ice, not easy to put a victory up on him like that. And I guess more conversations are had, and Fresco and Watson are, hey, look at the kid, man. He hung, he did good. He'd be a good addition. And I guess, Braxton and Ice aren't fully convinced that Demir Morningstar is ready to be a new member of Lights Camera Faction. So
right.
I guess this is a test run, I guess you can say.
And then we get JKM getting a huge challenge here from former WWID talent Jordan Oasis.
Yeah, being a former ID guy now, Oasis's schedule's cleared up a little bit. He's been wanting to work. It just really hadn't been able to get the scheduling the way we needed it to be. So, in all honesty, he was booked for this show before he even knew he was getting released from the contract.
Sure.
We were in the office talking, and literally we figured out the date. We're going to do some stuff. And all of a sudden it was 3 or 4 days later on that Saturday, he was like, hey, Joe, I just want to let you know before you hear it. They let me go from the contract. And it's like, okay, that's cool. Still going to use you. You're here, you're local, you train at the facility on your own with the crew, with Matt and, Aria Davari and Dante from Top Flight, and all that crew comes in a little early during the week. Yeah. So it's like, well, I might as well get it to be able to take advantage of you getting your free training at my school to, utilize you for a good price. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not that I didn't want to use the guy. you know.
Right.
So
Right.
bad for him, but I think better for us because now he's got that chip on his shoulder and feels that, you know what the fuck, I'm just as deserving as anybody else. And as we saw with Ice Williams, he got released and he was not booked on the next show 5 days later, and then he wanted to be on the show. So these guys are hungry, man. They got a little taste, and they want a little bit more. So I think we're going to have a much more motivated Jordan Oasis out to prove something.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. And you know, it's going to be interesting too because Jordan and his style, the big man, the power, versus JKM, and his high flying and the stuff that he does. It could be a collision course to steal the name of the show. There, this could be
Yeah,
one of the
you know,
better
it's-
matches.
and then Oasis has been announced. He's going to be on the Power Slap.
Yep.
So he's trying to make some moves.
Yeah. And why not rehearse the power slapping on JKM and his mask? If that
Yeah,
mask flies off, man.
there might be an 80-pound weight advantage there.
Yes. Speaking of weight advantage, the mariachis and the suavecitos. Oh my gosh, man! It's nice to see the suavecitos back. They look like a coherent tag team. They've really kind of gotten their reps in, their act together. And it's going to be something else to see how they can utilize their ability to work as a team now to take away this size advantage that the mariachis have.
Well, especially now with the tornado tag rules, all four are going to be in there. So it's definitely going to be interesting because the size advantage in a tornado tag is probably a bigger advantage than in a tag situation.
Right.
Because in a tag situation, the Suavecitos, who are notoriously known to take advantage of a situation, while they can jump into the ring and 2-on-1 the Montañas over there, now it's legal for all four guys to be in the ring. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Right.
And that's a big match. Transcendence will be defending the titles on the 18th. And if they win on the 18th, they'll also be defending on the 30th at the Halloween show. And they'll also be at Luck of the Draw. So you would think that the winner of this match should be in line. You got the Unguided returning for a match on the 18th and the 30th also. So, as we said, it's definitely going to be interesting to see. You got Young Money, you got Pretty City, you got the Po Boys, you got the Suavecitos, you got the Mariachis. Still trying to get the Regulators back. That seems to. I was trying to set up a big match for the 18th. I was trying to get the Unguided to return against the Regulators, which I would have thought would be fantastic. But unfortunately, it just seems to be that they're that jinxed team that really can't get into the mix because they're a tremendous tag team. But, again, out of mind, out of sight, So we're more than able to make do with the teams that we have. And like I said, guys like Tito and Che are on the horizon if needed, and Royce and Jarrell, and now the new United Tag Team champions, Limelight and Slice Boogie, and Limelight is always in my DMs. I know he likes to get into not anymore, I guess. He's a married man. But, the DMs Danny Limelight likes to slide into Joe DeFalco's. And, I recently got the message like, hey, man, Slice 5150. It's like, yeah, I hear you, bro. We got a lot going on. I know he wasn't too happy when he heard, 6 former champions, and he wasn't one of them, announced so far for luck of the draw. And it was still early. And it's like, but, Danny gets butthurt a little easy. And he was like, 6 former champions. And when was Remy Marcel the champ? And it was like, well, he was for 2 weeks, back in the Eli Drake days. And, he thought he was getting the announcement. And it was like, hey, bro, you're the one who left your boots in the ring to announce your retirement only from like our fucking company. So it's like, well, what the fuck?
That is ironically hysterically true.
And that's the thing. It's like, I ain't lying. I'm telling you the truth. And it's like, usually you retire from the business, not from like one place. It's like, you're going to lose a lot of boots if you leave your boots at every company you work for. And that's not, and it's like, hey, his boots. And then it's like, oh yeah, I'll be at Reality of Wrestling next week. And it's like, well, then you ain't fucking retiring. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, maybe he lost in those boots, so they were bad luck. So he had to just take those off, retire the boots themselves. He's starting the new thing.
I'm going to bet he grabbed those boots back and then wore them at the next show.
Any chance we see Jody in the mix for the?
I think he's long retired. I think he's a proud papa now.
Tyshawn. There's some names there, right?
We've had a reach out. He works with my buddy at one of the clubs in town, and he was like, oh. So I guess my kids saw him too, and I told my buddy to tell him. I'm like, hey, same thing with Alcatraz. We got a spot in the Rumble. If you're interested. But my phone hasn't rung yet, so I don't know. Maybe he forgot my same number that I've had for 13 years.
You know what? You just like if you can get Alcatraz, ticket hookup to Notre Dame, maybe he'll come back for one last match.
Why he needs tickets to that shitty team is beyond me. But hey.
That's
my number one most despised college football team of all time. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always hated Notre Dame.
Yep.
Alabama used to be up there too. Nebraska, because I used to like Oklahoma when they used to feud all the time, but that's long gone. But Notre Dame still stays number one in my heart as the team I hate the most. Yeah. But I will bet them if I think they're going to win. So I'm not that much hatred as I used to.
Use them as you need them, sure.
Right, of course. Yeah.
So Day of Reckoning is going to be coming up on October 18th. So far, is there anything in your mind that because you couldn't work, certain people onto Collision Course that we might be seeing on the 18th?
Yeah, we're still working on it. We got some different females. Layla Gray is scheduled to be on the 18th show, but run into a little hiccup with AEW in that manner that they are requiring us to provide them with who their talent is going to be working on that show. So I don't know if it's like, hey, we need to approve it or whatever. So I can't say she's on the show for sure unless I say, hey, this is going to be an opponent and they're okay with it.
Right.
Which I think with our women's division, there shouldn't be a problem with
Right.
wrestling a Maz or a Gypsy or any of our top women.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's the same thing with Trisha Dora, getting
Right.
her availability and then getting her a match
Yeah.
and then proceeding from there. So that's kind of the hiccup in there. Obviously, Transcendence will be there. The Unguided will be there. No, the Unguided won't be wrestling for the tag titles in their first match back. So for anybody who thinks that, could be their second or third match back, but you know, they're going to have a match on the 18th, and we're still working it out. You know, we're going to see what's going to happen with, you know, availabilities and everything like that.
Right.
Hey, is there a new Nevada champion? Is there a new No Limits champion? Is there
Right.
a new? Because I'll be honest with you, I'm working on the Halloween. I'm working on Luck of the Draw. I haven't really delved deep into, okay, who is available for
Right.
this? You know, and I get it. And I know, like Jimmy House, for example, love to have him back. And as of right now, he looks like he will be returning at Countdown to Midnight, which is the New Year's Eve show.
Wow.
So he's going to make his way to Vegas on New Year's Eve, which not an easy venture. And I think he might be available for one of the Future Shocks, but obviously he's not a Future Shock guy. So
has he already picked up the idea, Joe, of being in Vegas and using the catchphrase "Don't bet against the house"?
I don't think so, because you could see on that first promo it was pretty solid, but I'm not sure he did 7 takes to get the perfect one. You know what I mean? It seemed like he was, you know, shooting from the heart. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, which I'm okay with those one take. Joe always tried to do everything in one take. So
sure. I'm just saying, man, if House gets smart to it, there's money to be made in merch in Vegas using that, you know, the Vegas phrases for that name.
Yeah, there's that. There's always, you know, the house always wins.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot he can use, especially at Luck of the Draw, which he was a guy I was hoping to be available for the Rumble.
Yeah.
Here's a wild card that would be, you know, super cool to have in there.
Yeah.
But we haven't had the conversation yet, you know. So, hey, what are you doing the 23rd? You know, why are you not available? Hey, we're doing a Rumble match. We've got a big names. Cross is going to be on the show, blah, blah, blah. You know, people have been known to switch up their schedules to try to get on an FSW show.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, so regardless, we know the card's going to be really, really good on the 18th. And the Halloween show, we know we got the gimmick battle royal. We know we got a casket match. Who's in it yet? Well, we got to figure that out, you know, because it's Halloween, got to have the casket match. We know the Unguided are going to be there. We know the Pretty City Express will be there. We know Transcendence will be there. So we already got 3 tag teams that we know of. And I'm pretty sure if the mariachis are needed, they'll be there.
Yeah.
You know, I know they're not on the next Power Slap, but congratulations to them. I hear they're going to Saudi Arabia. So I heard both of them are getting on the show.
That's crazy.
Now they're going to want me to pay them or something, these guys. Fuck.
Well, you know, eventually, you know, you knew that you were going to have to start saving up some of the money, you know, because brothers, right? So isn't there an FSW clause in the contract that because they're related, there's only like a certain pay cap because they have to split it?
They did get an initial discount for training. They did get, you know, two guys come in together. Most of the time it's brothers, but even if it's friends, we'll offer a discount if they come together.
Yeah.
So
So, you know, and well, hey,
I can honestly say they're a tag team that I did not put together.
They got to sign that one at birth, apparently.
Yes.
It's
But
it's
yeah, so like I said, the 27th is another A+ show. It's like
yeah,
it's hard not to have a top-notch show. Also, you know, the Bateman Jay Vidal situation. There's no match scheduled, but Bateman's expected to be there with Jay Vidal on the 27th. Now,
yeah,
what are they going to discuss? The last time we saw them, Bateman kind of left Jay Vidal to the Wolves.
yeah, yeah,
So
and
it's going to be interesting to see uh, what wacky, crazy things Bateman had Jay Vidal doing at the house recently, as
oh
the
no,
servant. Maybe he had to serve dinner. He had to cook for Bateman's girl, Danny. I don't know.
yeah. I think that that's again the vignettes we're missing right now, man. Are
Yeah, I haven't seen the maid's outfit yet on Jay Vidal. I'm
right,
waiting for that picture.
right. And and of course with Bateman, it's got to be some gothy looking stuff. See, that's what I'm waiting for too. Is at some point you got to assume that Jay will be influenced by Bateman's style and mind and being around him. I would love to see a very dark Jay Vidal, which that'd be a challenge too for Jay.
Yeah, no, that there's a lot of ways that this story can go,
Yeah,
and sit back and enjoy, because we're at the very, very early stages. So
yeah. Uh, luck of the draw. Again, it's not until November 23rd, but you've already got the 6 names announced here, and then of course you got Cross announced. Uh, Anything else coming in the pipe right now for luck of the draw in terms of anyone else that people might be thinking, oh, you know, that would be interesting to see this person or that person kind of show up. Any, you know,
well, the challenge is the fact that we generally do a 30-man or 30-person rumble.
right,
Women have been in the rumble. To add people, what we've done is first we had a large group, a faction per se of the faction. So
yep,
4 guys came out at once,
yeah,
and I like that idea. So we changed it up a little bit. And then the next second year, what we did was we had teams that were, the Sky Highs of the world, or Fresco and Watson, or whatever tag team that wasn't in a tag team match. We made them come out together, which
right,
was able to get us to 34 guys, 34 people, 35 people, and still do it in the 30 person time frame.
right,
Because again, with every minute, it's a legitimate minute. That's 30 minutes, 29 minutes, because 2 people start
right,
before the mat. That's just with everybody in there.
right,
So you're talking about a match that's going to go close to an hour that you're trying to put 6 matches on. I think that's what the limit is going to be. So we
right,
know that is the equivalent of 3. That's an equivalent of 3 or 4 matches. But because the winner of that match also wrestles in the main event for the championship, that takes up 4 matches. So now
right,
that makes it particularly difficult, because we're trying to do an 8-match show technically, even though that's a 6-match show. But
yeah,
now we have 3 and we have 1. So either way, there's only 4 matches left, and you're going to definitely get the women's match, and you're going to try to get a couple of tag matches or no limits, like championship matches. So,
Right.
you got the women's title. So now you got that basically match 3. So you got 3 matches left between the Nevada State, the No Limits, and the tag, which is fine. But is there a heated rivalry match? In the past, we've done the last 2 eliminated in the Rumble wrestles on a special attraction match. So this year we may actually go to 35 spots on the Rumble, which still
Sure.
could take 38 to 40, because there's a lot of young future shock talent that you want to get on the shows, the Demirs, the Davions, the Colin Muldoons, the Jeffrey Excellences, the maybe the Po Boys together come out, Chase Bell and Jimmy Jack, or Young Money if they're not on the show. I did get confirmation that Layla and Luke Curtis will not be at Luck of the Draw. She's doing a concert in Orlando, and obviously she needs the roadie lackey, Luke Curtis, to carry her bags. So Luke will not be at Luck of the Draw, which I know is a disappointment to very few, but I know Layla Gray not being on the show will be a disappointment to very many. So it's weeding that out. It's hey, maybe Brett the Threat's available, and FSW, alumni and people that have done very well outside of FSW and maybe not have been around in a while, that you reach out to and see their availability. Hey, TJP comes by to see Jacob Austin Young. Hey, I'm around for a while. I'm not heading to Japan or doing anything. If you need me for any show, let me know.
Right.
Well, why wouldn't I want a TJP on a show?
Right.
Yep. And that's based off everything we built. So we want to have a star-studded show. And if the numbers work, well, you want to make sure you want to take care of your own, but you also want to have the people that have done you right over the years,
sure,
given an opportunity.
Yeah. Speaking of done you right over the years, Phil had a couple good suggestions. He wants WrestleMania tickets for his wedding gift, or for you to work on an FSW wedding belt to present to him and Brandy.
Sure. All you need to do is postpone the wedding for about 6 months, maybe 4 if I get a rush order, But that should have been brought up. Well, that might have been coming with the package if you did the reception at the FSW arena. You know what I'm saying? I did pitch that very early on, but they had the nerve to actually go to like a wedding place.
Oh, that's horrifying.
You met at our joint. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you, come full circle,
right,
and have it there?
Well, and Phil is laughing about it. All right, as we get ready to wrap up again, any final thoughts going into Collision Course this Saturday?
Yeah, we got another great show to check out at the FSW Arena. The ticket prices, $20 to see this card is unbelievable if you want a GA ticket, and hurt your back sitting in the bleachers. Or you could pay an extra $10 and get a good seat. Get your own seat. You get the one of those corner ones, from the we saved that from the chopper. I was driving by the old Jack in the Box by my house, and it was like, those look like chairs. And, we got those. And then we got the other ones that nobody seems to like, but they're very cushiony, but they're kind of worn. And those will be out for Mania weekend. So we got comfortable chairs for you for just $30 to see a star-studded card, So, we're looking forward to it, Be interesting to see. Hey, well, 3 championships and anybody could walk away as a new champion. So I'm excited about the continuation of these shows. And next week, then we got Future Shock, where the younger cats are going to get that opportunity. And we don't really promote it as much because it's more family and friends, and
Right.
we understand that your dollars are valuable, and we don't expect you to come to every show. We appreciate those who do. We appreciate everybody who comes out to as many shows as they can. But you know what? We know we have the best show in town. I don't care what anybody says, even though most people will say it. And it's like, you know what? Come out, support. We have the best fans in the world. FSW from day one. Phil and Brandy are just one of others, and Jace got married to someone who came to a lot of our shows and had a season pass and was a big fan. And We've had weddings there, and people who've become best friends, and the Furman crew was not the Furman. The Furman crew was Furman and a couple of people. And then it became Brandy, who then brought Phil and Heather and David and all these people that never came together. And that's what FSW is about. So it's like, we appreciate the support. We love the support. We love the fans, because I wouldn't be doing this for 16 years and who knows how many more if it wasn't for them. So, and I know they're very appreciative of, what we've done. That was Brandy's present. I got her cross for luck of the draw.
There you go. Well, everybody, again, it is this Saturday, 7 p.m. at the FSW Arena. And you can check it out on the Title Match Network if you're not in town, or if you just can't get out Saturday night. Check it out. Until next week, everyone, thanks for tuning in, and happy wrestling, everybody.